Is it actually possible to make $1 million cash before you turn 30 years old? And if it's possible, can you do it? For the past couple years, I've personally been running a profitable online business, and that is the sort of life I've been able to live so far. That's exactly why in this video, from all of the lessons that I learned over the years in business, I'm going to share with you how you too can make your first $1 million before you turn 30. Now, if you think that it's a bold claim, or that it's impossible to do, that for some reason maybe others could do it because they got lucky, but that you can't do it, let me tell you one thing. The rules of the game have profoundly changed in the last decades. I mean, just a few decades ago, if you wanted to make millions of dollars, what would you have needed to do? Your only real option, if you came from a low income or middle class family, was to get a great job, a high paying job, and then work your way up in the hierarchy, become a CEO, CFO, COO, and at some point, after decades of slave-like hours, slowly climbing the corporate ladder, you might be making 6 figures a year. But that was in no way a guarantee. Or if you wanted to open up your own business, become your own boss, take control of your life, you would have needed to come up with at least hundreds of thousands of dollars in startup capital. But not just that, you would have needed to know the right people. So what this also means is that you would have needed to be in the right inner circles. So in a sense, to be able to do that, you would have needed to be extremely privileged, which wasn't the case for most people. But nowadays, with the arrival of the internet, the rules of the game have changed. Now more than ever, we have a crazy window of opportunity to actually become extremely rich with the internet. I mean, if you told people 20 years ago that in the future they could just start a business from home and then start making $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, hell, $100,000 a month from the comfort of their own home, to be able to pick their own schedule, to travel whenever they want, to choose when they go on vacation and how long they go on vacation, people would have absolutely killed for this opportunity. But luckily for you, you've got access to this opportunity if you're watching this video currently. As long as you have the will to do anything that it takes, to work as hard as it takes to become successful, you have a steady internet connection and a device, let's say a laptop, you can go extremely far nowadays. Not too long ago, if people wanted to open up a business, most of the time they would risk losing all of their life savings. But if you start an online business, you have none of that constraint. And let me ask you a question. Those 25-year-olds that you see on Instagram, living an incredible life, a life that you can only dream of, how did they get to where they are? Is it because they slowly climbed the corporate ladder, worked slave-like hours for decades on end? Is it because they spent their entire lives saving all their money and investing it in the stock market, or in real estate, or in a 401k? Obviously not. That's not possible. They're only 25 years old. What they did is that they leveraged the unique opportunity that we have to build wealth that brought the internet and social media specifically. A lot of people use social media in a stupid way. They're just constantly scrolling, entertaining themselves, getting cheap, easy dopamine, and they're essentially destroying their ability to get stuff done and to focus. While a handful of people have understood the insane opportunity that social media represents, and they use it to make hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month, and even millions of dollars. Now, a lot of people believe what the mainstream culture told them, what they saw in the movies, in the TV shows, in the fictional stories, in the books. They think that to make a lot more money, you automatically need to do morally questionable things. But if you just break things down to their core components, you'll realize in an instant that couldn't be further from the truth. Why, you may ask? Because money derives directly from value. If you want to make more money, you'll need to help the world in some way. You'll need to provide more value to other people in any way, shape, or form. Because think about this, no one is going to one day show up at your doorstep and give you $1 million cash just to thank you for existing. I mean, the closest thing to that happening in your life, it would be getting some kind of inheritance from a secretly wealthy relative who just passed away. But if you're counting on that to make your dreams come true, to become extremely wealthy, trust me, the likelihood of you never getting what you want and being extremely disappointed is very, very high. So if I were you, I would not rely on luck or some kind of magical destiny to actually make my dreams come true. Now, if you just take a look at the wealthiest people on the planet, Warren Buffett, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, if you analyzed how they made their money, they did it by providing massive value to humanity. They sold products or services that people wanted to buy. Mark Zuckerberg helped people to connect all over the world with their loved ones. Now, it might seem like it's not that revolutionary, but at the time, the internet wasn't what it is today, and especially social media. Every single day, Google helps billions of people all over the globe to find answers to their questions. Again, that is extremely precious. And if we take a look at Warren Buffett, he helped countless companies to grow and to expand, which again, for a business, it's an extremely valuable transformation. So what this means for you is that the more value you provide to other people, the more you'll get paid in return. The market is never going to reward undeserving people. If you want something, you'll need to provide something else in exchange. So that is why if you make it your mission to help people to solve their problems, becoming extremely wealthy, making millions of dollars is a natural side effect of this. If you just spend all day playing video games, scrolling on social media, consuming content, but never producing any, watching Netflix series, then no wonder why you're not making any money. You're not providing value to anyone else other than yourself. So now the question that you may be asking yourself is, well, how do I go about providing value to other people? How should I get started? And that's actually a very good question. Like I said earlier, you need to start solving solving problems for people. To give you an example, if you went and you reached out to a neighbor, you asked them if they wanted you to mow their lawn for them. If they agree, you're providing a valuable service, and so you'll get paid in exchange. Because it's typically something which is a bit time consuming, it's not that fun to do, it's a bit boring, and quite frankly, most people would rather do something else as opposed to mow their lawn. So if you can do that for someone else, you solve a problem for them. You help them to get rid of a chore, they save time so they can invest that time in something else. Now if you decided to do something like rent an apartment to tenants, again you would get paid because you're helping somebody to fill up a need that they have, to solve a problem. So as you can see, to make a lot of money, unlike a lot of people seem to think, you don't need to reinvent the wheel to create something revolutionary. Now if your goal is to become a billionaire, it might be a different story, I'll grant you that. But why think about making your first $1 billion if you don't even make $10,000 per month online? In anything in life, it's a game with levels. There's no use worrying about $10 million if you haven't even made your first $1,000 online. I mean, at the Fastlane Club, we help people just like you to make their first $1,000 online in 90 days or less. If you want to hear more about it, it's the second link in the description below. Now you will get paid directly in proportion to the amount of value that you bring to the world. I mean, the only reason why a life-saving surgery is going to be 100 times more expensive than simply an apple at the grocery store, it's because quite clearly the pain that the surgery is solving, the value that it's providing, it's infinitely higher than what an apple provides. So that is exactly why, if you can make it your mission to become a problem solver, trust me when I say that you will never ever have to worry about money ever again. There are two ways to build a profitable business and make millions of dollars, even billions of dollars. You can either choose to provide some kind of value to a huge number of people, think like Amazon, Netflix, or you can decide to target a handful of people and provide such a huge amount of value to them that you'll still make billions of dollars anyway. Think Ferrari, think Bugatti, think the 5-star hotels. The prices that they charge are much higher and most people couldn't afford those prices, yet they still make millions and billions of dollars. That's typically the difference between low ticket offers and high ticket offers. Now when you're just getting started in business, I always recommend that you go for at least medium ticket offers to high ticket offers if possible. If you choose the right business model, it's possible to make around $1,500 up to $10,000 per signed customer, and that can be monthly recurring depending on your offer. Because if you provide, let's say, a lead generation service to a business, they will need you to keep doing the work month after month, but you're not going to work for free. So every single month you'll get paid. And the best part is that when you sign a customer, it's usually going to be for at least 3 months. So if you sign a client for $2,000 a month for a minimum term of 3 months, you know that for the next 3 months you're at least going to make $2,000 per month. So it makes your income predictable and it takes away the fear of not getting a client or not knowing if you're going to be able to pay your expenses for the next month. You get the upside of having a job, which is the safety that comes from having a paycheck at the end of the month, of knowing how much money you'll make in advance. But at the same time, you don't have all of the downsides that come with a job, like limited freedom, not being able to pick your schedule, not being able to do the work the way that you want to, only having 2 weeks of vacations per year, not having the option to actually make more money. And by that, what I mean is that with a job, you're not going to 5 extra income 1 month to the next, but with an online business, it's completely possible. I mean, honestly, tell me what kind of job is going to pay you $100,000 per month, whereas with a business, $100K per month, it's like a hygiene standard. It's not actually that much. You're still considered a small business in the world. But like I said, with the way that we show our students how they can sell services online, you can make anywhere from 1.5K up to $10,000 per deal. Again, this can be monthly recurring. So if you were to sell a service for $2,000 per month with only 5 customers, you would already be making $10,000 per month. Now with a job, if you wanted to get to 10K per month, you'd need to work slave-like hours for decades on end. But to even be able to get a good position in a good company, you'd need to get massively in debt, to study in fancy schools, and again, it would take you decades. If you want to learn more about this business model and how you can do it too, even if you have no previous skills and no previous work experience, it's the first link in the description below. Look, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. If you really want to make $1 million before 30, you don't have 10,000 different ways to do it. You can either count on getting lucky, such as winning the lottery, receiving a huge inheritance from a secretly wealthy relative, but again, that is extremely unlikely to ever actually happen. Or you can do like a lot of people did. You can decide to take all of your savings, you know, the savings that you spent decades collecting, and then invest all of that in the stock market, but without really understanding what you're doing, or worse, putting it all into crypto and hoping that overnight the price is going to shoot through the roof and make you an overnight multi-millionaire. Honestly, I highly discourage you from going down that path. Like I said, if I were you, I would not rely on luck to make my dreams come true and to actually build wealth. Or your other option, which is a much better way, a much more reliable way to actually make $1 million before you turn 30, it's to start your own online business. Because if you wanted to start a brick and mortar business, like a restaurant, a gym, a hair salon, you'd need to come up with at least $100,000 for a small town, up to $1 million and sometimes even more. It's not like there's a limit for a big city. But again, to come up with that money, most of the time this is going to mean that you'll need to get massively in debt. So if you can't make that business work for some reason, now good luck having to paid back that debt. At the end of the day, it's never a good thing to owe somebody something, and especially money in this world. But if you want to make more money, you need to develop high income skills. Let me ask you a question. What's the difference in pay between a beginner lawyer and the best lawyer in the biggest law firm of the city? How come one is getting paid millions of dollars while the other one is struggling to get to 6 figures a year? What separates those two people? It's their level of skill and of experience. Because I'll tell you one thing, if you are easily replaceable, you're not going to get paid much money. That's typically why somebody who works an entry-level job, let's say at McDonald's, is never going to be paid $1 million. And you could work extremely hard all of your life in that job, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. You would never even come close to getting to 6 figures a year. Because the sad truth is that those kind of skills are extremely easily replaceable. You could pick anyone in the street and in just an hour or two turn them into a great McDonald's employee. Now congratulations, you started your own online business and you got to $10,000 per month. So now what's the next step? You might think that it's going to be easy, you know, just keep making $10,000 per month, that's it. I don't need to do anything more. The truth is, I need to warn you, because that is the moment in time where most people actually blow everything and they go right back to square one. Let me tell you that when you just quit your job, you showed your family how much money you're making now with your online business. I mean, $10,000 per month, that's unbelievable to most people. It's like if you had announced them you made $1 billion. But if you make this one mistake, it's going to single-handedly destroy all of the progress that you've made. And now the job that you just quit, you'll have to go back and get that job. So I really don't wish this to happen for you. You need to be extremely careful about early success. A lot of entrepreneurs, they're young entrepreneurs, and I don't mean it in terms of they're 20 years old, they could be 40 years old, but they're newly successful in business. So sometimes the way that they make decisions is not always spot on. They can make quite silly, quite immature decisions. You need to understand that in business, it's kind of like in sports. Just because you made $10,000 this month, it's not going to guarantee that the next year you'll still be making $10,000 per month. If you're a top athlete, just because you won the Olympics of this year, it doesn't mean that you'll win the next Olympics as well. You always need to be ready for the next thing. So what a lot of newly successful entrepreneurs do is that they're going to start to spend more and more money. But here I'm not speaking about spending more and more money on their business. I'm talking about going to the club, buying the most expensive bottle of champagne for the whole table. They think that now they've made it, so they start to rent expensive cars, to go on expensive vacations, and so now they can dedicate less time to their business. And because they didn't put the right systems in place, they didn't hire the right people, now everything slowly starts to fall apart. Because they invest less time, less effort into their business, their clients start to get worse results. So now clients are dissatisfied, they want refunds, they want to cancel the contract, they're not happy, they're leaving in negative reviews, and your reputation is slowly getting destroyed. But guess what? It is your fault. So instead of being like that stupid entrepreneur, you don't want to do that. Instead, what you want to do is to take at least 90% of that money that you make with your business and reinvest it in growing the business. Because if you make 10K per month and you spend 8K per month on personal things, like I said, going on vacations, going to nice dinners, that is an extremely stupid thing to do. In fact, within a matter of months, you're going to be bankrupt. However, if you pour all of that money, 90 to even 100% of what you make, back into your business, soon enough, you will have scaled to $50,000 per month, to $100,000 per month. And now if you want to spend 5K per month, you can afford to do it because it's 10 to 5% of what you make. The more time, effort, and money that you can reinvest in your business, the faster it's going to grow and the more revenue it's going to produce. So essentially what this is going to do is to keep creating a virtual cycle that will keep making you richer and richer month after month and year after year. So what are you waiting for? If you are ready to get started, I've recorded a 100% free guide in which I'm going to analyze every popular online business model. Together we'll take a look at the pros, at the cons, and I'm also going to share with you for completely free the 3-step process that you can use to get your first customers as quickly as possible. If you're interested, I'll leave the link in the description below. If you want to go check it out, it's the first link in the description below. And with that said, I am waiting for you on the other side.